Hello guys, welcome to my channel. And today I am going to explain a short drama film called The Carmen Line, released in 2014. This movie got 8 out of 10 on Internet Movie Database and 80% liked by Google users. So do not wasting your time. Let's begin. The hero of the film is a moderately aged housewife named Sarah. She lives with her high school girl, Carly. What's more, her better half, Dave. One evening, Sarah is feeling superb. She is impacting a heartfelt tune on the radio, and is moving around the house at something very similar time. Carly gets back from school, and is in an apparently awful mindset. She takes off her grimy shoes, and heedlessly throws them away. Her mom attempts to ease up her disposition by moving and singing around her, however she doesn't recognize it, and maybe thinks that it is irritating. Sarah follows her to the kitchen. While as yet moving in any case, Carly essentially turns the radio's volume down, and takes the supper plate from the counter. It is clear that Carly doesn't see the value in her mom's endeavors, and underestimates her. Sarah anyway doesn't appear to mind her girl's lack of concern. She basically turns the volume back up, and really looks at Carly's sack to check whether she has eaten every last bit of her food. Sarah then, at that point, observes a test paper inside her sack that has extremely terrible grades. In spite of the fact that it is just a fake test, she urges her girl to improve. Carly again overlooks her, which has become sort of a daily schedule in the family. When Sarah requests a response, she basically leaves to her room. Minutes after the fact, Sarah gets her beverage from the family room's espresso table, however it drops from her hand. She begins to frenzy, and hollers for help as her feet start to continue all alone. Carly hears her cry, and rapidly runs down the stairs to see her mom is suspending off of the ground. She is as well staggered to talk in the accompanying scene. 3 men are attempting to bring Sarah back to the ground. One of them is her better half, Dave. He holds her hand for enthusiastic support as the other 2 people pull Sarah down. They make an honest effort, however don't succeed. It is as though they are neutralizing a puzzling power that is keeping her above water possibly. A furious Harry Potter is prowling around the corner. Regardless of the amount they attempt, she doesn't move from her place. Carly watches them from the entryway. Not being ready to fathom what is happening, the men leave. Some time later, however, Sarah keeps suspending Dave, then calls their family specialist, Dr. Beringer, to investigate the circumstance. He estimates the distance she has raised starting from the earliest stage, finds out that she is going higher over the long run. This stresses the whole family. Even the specialist doesn't have a response with regards to how it is conceivable. He essentially takes her blood test to concentrate on it, and ideally find out why gravity has quit dealing with her. He additionally vows to send in a specialist, Dr. Benham, who might conceivably help her. The spouse asks him how long it will take. However, the specialist guarantees them that since Sarah is solid, there is each motivation to accept. She will be better right away. Beginning that day, Sarah can't move around, and keeps on flying upwards. In just a single day, she stands taller than her significant other Dave, purchases a chamber pot to assist her with pooing, a genuine indication of genuine romance. Yet their expectations of her improving are blurring with time. Since she can't move from the room, the father and little girl redesign it to fit her requirements, and keep her engaged soon. Sarah's sisters likewise come to her home to assist her with life. It is as though she is out of commission, and needs individuals to deal with her. They tidy up after her consistently. At last they begin requiring a stepping stool to contact her. Dr. Beringer visits routinely to investigate Sarah. What's more, measure the amount she has raised since the last time. He monitors the math, and discovers that she is being pulled up at a higher rate as time passes. To stop this, he makes her wear a belt with loads within it, so the loads would diminish the pace of rise anyway. This doesn't help Sarah's case, and she nearly comes to the roof. Dave begins getting baffled, seeing no outcomes out of the specialist's tests. Around evening time, Sarah begins folding a cover over herself while dozing on air. Dave loves his significant other truly, and tries to be with her everything. The time he has moved from the room to the family room to be with her at night in the event. She wants anything. Sarah's expert, Dr. Mary Benham, as it were, shows up following 7 days. At this point, Sarah is up on the roof attempting to go further up. The specialist presents herself, also contacts shake her hand. She apologizes for not arriving sooner, also asks how they are adapting to the circumstance. Dave jokes, and says that the roof is anything but a helpful spot to keep a spouse. Basically, Dave didn't make a joke about the kitchen for reasons unknown. The specialist doesn't appear to be astonished by Sarah's condition. She basically brings out an estimating tape and measures the distance among her and the floor. Dave offers the specialist some tea and sends Carly to make it. Without Sarah's assistance, the kitchen is a finished wreck. Carly draws out a messy mug from the sink and just flushes it prior to pouring tea in it and giving it to the specialist. Carly is that lethargic flatmate that we have all had before in the wake of understanding the seriousness of Sarah's condition. The specialist's attitude changes. The family had been hanging tight for her to come and supernaturally fix Sarah. However, they before long understood that she also has no thought what the issue is. The specialist gruffly lets the family know that their case is special. So nothing is sure from what the specialists have seen, and considered Sarah will keep on moving upwards at a variable, yet expanding rate. Dave reluctantly inquires as to whether she would be able to bring Sarah down. To which she is sorry. What's more, says she would the loads be able to will slow her advancement, yet assuming she conveys a greater amount of it will harm her. Their smartest choice is to trust that the condition will disappear on its own. In around 10 weeks, Sarah will come to a stature of 12,000 feet from that point. She will require oxygen to endure. Even later, that she will in any case continue to rise upwards. Furthermore, they should keep her warm and control her eating regimen. Sarah at last comes to the end that she can't be saved. The family additionally recognizes she is going to ascend to the sky. Until her unavoidable passing, Carly remarks that her mother is going into space. Dave loses persistence and requests that the specialist do something, yet she says she can do her best to keep her agreeable, as there is no known method for saving her. That night, Dave cuts the roof around Sarah's head to permit her to fly up. He is forceful while cutting it, and nearly harms her. Cautious. Dave wouldn't need to coincidentally knock her, as you're caught up with sending her into space. As the residue falls on the helpless lady, she calls for her girl to help anyway. She has neglected Carly is altogether futile. She totally disregards her mom's requests, and turns the tap on to not hear her. Ultimately, Dave finishes making the opening, and holds his better half's hand. Sarah's head is presently inside Carly's room. She is plainly troubled by her mom attacking her protection, despite the fact that she has zero influence over it. The next day, Carly is reading up for her last, most important tests. As Sarah watches her peacefully, she needs to pee. However, doesn't have any desire to upset her girl. Sometime later, she is sorry. Furthermore, asks Carly to call her dad. Carly just brings the chamber pot and helps her. Following that, she sits back to study, yet can't concentrate with her mom in the room. Carly tells her that she can't take the tests this year in light of the circumstance. However, Sarah becomes suddenly angry at her. She would rather not be a disadvantage in her girl's life. A few days after the fact is, Dave. What's more, Sarah's commemoration, they have welcomed Sarah's sister to dress her up. For the event, Dave praises her, saying that she resembles a holy messenger, and the two chuckle at the incongruity. Even at the season of emergency, the couple celebrates and drinks together. Dave gets on a table and kisses her. Ultimately, the two have intercourse. When Carly gets back from school, one day she hears her mom groaning in torment. It would seem Dave has attached her leg to the ground to keep her from taking off, which is truly agonizing for her. He sits at the entryway, unfit to watch his significant other cry in wretchedness. Carly rapidly runs higher up and gets a blade to cut the rope in the following scene. Sarah has reached outside the house. Dave and Carly reach her utilizing a crane to hand her food and supplies. This is likely the last time they will see her, so they pack her with enough food, oxygen, and water for her excursion to the sky. Carly hands her a telephone and a battery to call home. At the point, when required, she has additionally brought a music player so Sarah can pay attention to every last bit of her main tunes when she gets exhausted. Following that, she is made to wear a weighty rucksack, so she would raise at a more slow speed, as the little girl hands her. The apportions Dave keeps silent, and as it were watches them prior to leaving. He embraces his spouse, firmly realizing that she is never returning. The family shares a sad farewell. The following day we see Sarah way high up in the sky. She is not really a parent. From the beginning, breathe easy, she has put resources into a crossword puzzle. Out of nowhere, a drop of water falls on her book. As she wipes it away, it begins to shower. She removes her cap and wears the hood of her coat to keep warm. A few additional days later, Sarah utilizes optics to peer down at the earth. She draws out a parcel of bread rolls that Carly had given her, and sees that she is practically out of them. She calls Carly, and asks her what she is cooking for herself without her mom. She has begun to eat heated beans and toast consistently. This sounds depressingly natural. Sarah stresses over her, and advises her to eat all-around prepared food. However, Carly is plainly not inspired by talking. She replies in single words, generally on the grounds that it is overpowering to converse with her mom, realizing that she will kick the bucket sooner. Later, Sarah apologizes for upsetting her, and cases that she misses her. However, Carly hangs up the call before she can complete. Sarah gets passionate after the call, so she brings out her music player to help her quiet down, yet to her adversity, she incidentally drops it for certain seconds. She loses her quiet, and shouts in dissatisfaction. Her shouts welcome a group of birds towards her, which in a split second cheers her mindset. She waves her hands around joyfully in the middle of them. Dave misses his better half, beyond a doubt, and turns to liquor abuse to dispose of the aggravation. One night it begins to rain intensely. Despite the fact that Sarah is wearing thick garments, they are adequately not to keep her warm. She misses her family, however, can fail to address it. She some way or another endures the late evening, holding herself to keep warm. The next day she comes to higher in the sky, and presently requires a breathing device. To make do, she eliminates the veil, and calls her spouse. Dave rushes to the telephone, and inquires as to whether she is doing great. Carly additionally comes running, stressed over her mom. Sarah tells Carly that regardless of whether she bombs her tests, she is extremely glad for her, and will continuously love her. Dave more than once asks her to put the breathing apparatus back on, yet she rejects. Rather, she requests that they stand away from the opening in the roof. Seconds after the fact, a pack falls through it. The two register that Sarah has chosen to quit clutching her life. Carly falls to the floor, and embraces the pack, asking for her mom to return. As the sun rises, Sarah flies quicker, very high. Cheerfully she tells her spouse that she cherishes him, and puts the telephone down. Sometime later it falls through the roof. The dad and the little girl hold one another, and cry, grieving Sarah's demise. It is presently half a month after the occurrence. The family has fixed the roof. Carly gets ready tea and breakfast for the two of them, and really hits the books for her finals. Dave sees an adjustment of her conduct after Sarah's passing. The film closes as they eat the feast peacefully. So guys, would you like this video or not? Comment in comment section. And if you want to watch more video like this, then do not forget to subscribe our channel. Thank you.